Hello and welcome to the fifth lecture of Remain or Leave. For the final part of this course, what I will be discussing are the risks of remaining in the EU as compared to leaving. Both options come with uncertainty and potential adverse consequences for British interests. That's why it's important to explore them in detail. What I hope is that by analysing these risks, you'll be better placed to weigh up the two options and thus to make a more informed decision. However, that does not necessarily mean it is an easy choice to make. Sometimes knowing more actually makes it harder to decide. I know the Remain campaign emphasises the risks associated with leaving the EU, but that does not mean that keeping the status quo is risk-free. The EU is an evolving institution that creates new policies, and sometimes there is pressure from other EU countries to transfer new competences. What will be examined here then is the risk associated with further EU enlargement, new trade deals, and grand projects such as an EU army. On the leave side, the risks can be categorised in two ways. There are the costs associated with no longer having access to certain EU benefits, namely the single market and EU funding. The other type of uncertainty concerns whether going it alone can really deliver the benefits promised by supporters of Brexit. This second category includes the risk of how a British withdrawal could affect the rest of the EU itself. One approach is to do a calculation of the costs and benefits behind staying or leaving. This is much harder than it sounds because there are so many unknown factors surrounding both decisions. That is why the best we can probably do is to rank economic risks as low, medium or high. There is another approach for thinking about risk regarding EU membership. Instead of using a calculator approach, it is possible to view the EU from the perspective of control. Hence, the objective of this final lecture is to make it easier to compare risks by providing a framework to help understand the consequences of each outcome. That way, we can appreciate better what is at stake in this referendum and what the future holds for the UK once the electoral verdict is known. Given all that, we will end by reflecting on whether holding a referendum on this issue was a good idea in the first place.